Mumbai Indians scored 89 runs in their final 30 balls. Sounds familiar? We are not talking about their game against the Royal Challengers Bangalore from 2 nights back. It is tonight's game between Kings XI Punjab and Mumbai Indians that we are discussing today. Hello and welcome to Uninvited Opinions, and this is another episode of End of Days Play. So, Suren, we had an interesting game which kind of ended up being one sided at the end. So, what do you have for us in terms of summary?
Well, the Kings XI Punjab won the toss, and despite what we've been asking for teams to do across the tournament so far, inexplicably again they chose to bowl first and invited the Mumbai Indians to bat. Mumbai Indians lost Quinton de Kock early, but rather than try to go bang bang and score runs quickly, they tried to establish a solid platform. And Rohit Sharma sort of set himself up to play a long innings. And in the company of Surya Kumar Yadav, he put up a good partnership. Surya Kumar Yadav, unfortunately, looked in good touch, but got run out once again. And then that brought in Ishan Kishan. Ishan Kishan, struggled for timing. He wasn't as fluent as he was in the previous game against the Royal Challengers Bangalore, and struggled to find the big hits. However, he did put on a useful partnership with Rohit Sharma, which really laid the platform for Mumbai Indians. And once Ishan Kishan got out, Rohit Sharma, Kieron Pollard, and Hardik Pandya, went ballistic and propelled Mumbai Indians to a big total of 191 for the loss of 4 wickets. Rohit Sharma top scored with 70, and Kieron Pollard and Hardik Pandya made very useful contributions in very quick time. For the Kings XI bowling, Sheldon Cottrell had a great game. He successfully avoided the carnage late in the innings and ended up with figures of 1 for 20. But the rest of the Kings XI bowling didn't live up to the mark and got thrashed around in the late overs. In response, Kings XI Punjab had a decent opening stand between Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul. But then once Mayank Agarwal got out, it exposed Kings XI's big problem, their soft middle order underbelly. And they just struggled to stitch together partnerships or find the big hits required to chase down a total as big as 191. Nicholas Pooran probably had a decent innings. He tried going for the big hits and perished, unfortunately. And the rest of the Kings XI batting just followed him. For Mumbai, it was again a fantastic team bowling effort. Rahul Chahar and Jasprit Bumrah leading the way with useful contributions from Trent Boult, James Pattinson, and the rest of the bowling unit. In the end, Mumbai won by 48 runs, and that should prove a big boost to the net run rate tally. So, Nax, we've got a few interesting things to talk about today. What do you want to start with first?
Yes, it has to be the weakness in the death overs bowling for Kings XI Punjab. Now they stand at 4 games, and having lost 3, they have a lot of soul searching to do. The first game that they lost to Delhi was also attributed to the poor death bowling, in spite of having someone like Chris Jordan in their side. And even today, KL Rahul opted to go for only 5 bowlers. That meant whether or not you have a skillful bowler to finish at the death, you had to bowl the bowlers who had to finish their spell. So that meant the 20th over being bowled by Krishnappa Gautam, an off spinner, with Pollard and Hardik Pandya in fine hitting form. That kind of made very little sense. And that also meant that Kings XI are actually not having many choices to look up to. So either they bring in more newer personnel. I don't really know if they have such depth in their squad. They can probably try Chris Jordan again. Or they ask and they buck their own existing playing 11 to probably bring better performance out of them. So until they resolve this issue of theirs in the death bowling, it is going to be very difficult to see them going deeper into this tournament.
Yeah, and I also felt that probably you could see Rahul's captaincy and experience sort of come to the fore here, and I think it's sort of draining him a lot at this point in time. You could feel that you have certain captains who are very aggressive with how they go about the things. Rahul is actually someone who appears quite passive, and if his bowlers are going wrong, he does not appear to have a lot of ideas in terms of how to get to correct things. So maybe that's something that they need to rectify quickly. Otherwise, they keep losing these games. Next up, we're going to talk about Punjab's batting and their over-reliance on Mayank Agarwal and KL Rahul. We always knew that the 2 batsmen at the top of the order were their batting linchpins, and they were bound to have an off day at some point in time. And unfortunately, that was today. And once that happened, there was nobody else apart from Nicholas Puran to a certain extent who put up their hand and said, you know what, we are going to try and fight and chase this total. I think if you look at the batting comparisons, the amount of runs that Kings XI Punjab needed of the last 4 overs was not quite dissimilar to what Mumbai Indians scored of the last 4 overs. Unfortunately, they came up against a better bowling attack, which hit the right lengths. And to add to it, I think Punjab lacks that late order hitting, which would have probably got them over the line today, but didn't happen today. So I think there's some soul searching that they need to do.
Yeah, it's probably very worrying for them, because the 2 points that we have discussed today, we have discussed their uh, lack of strength in their bowling, and now we are also picking on their lack of depth in their batting. So probably a lot of questions for Anil Kumble and co to answer.
So what's the main talking point of the day, Nags?
Having shown the weaknesses in Kings 11, it's only appropriate that we bring up the strengths of Mumbai Indians. So there is no reliance on individual brilliance. There is always a team effort involved here. You have the lesser known players. You have someone like Ishan Kishan walking into the team as a replacement for Saurabh Tiwari and shines immediately. And then you have the likes of Krunal Pandya, who, when brought into bowl, gives his best and always does the job that is asked by his captain. And so everybody gels in this team environment so well. The batting is led by Rohit Sharma, who is obviously a world-class international player, but there are some lesser-known players who are not even having an India cap ever. So Surya Kumar Yadav, Ishan Kishan. So they are unsung heroes, but they always come to the party when Mumbai needs them. And similarly, in their bowling attack, things are kind of already in template, set in template, what each one is going to do, and each one just comes and plays their role to perfection. So even the likes of lesser known bowlers like Rahul Chahar is now peaking in the team environment that Mumbai is offering them. And that is very difficult to replicate. You know that the core has been retained, and therefore the team is always going to be around these individuals, and whoever comes in simply adapts so well to this environment. And it's going to be very difficult to see how Mumbai will not qualify, and if they do qualify, how Mumbai will not go all the way. So I know these are too early days in the tournament, but this is just such an impressive and comprehensive display.
I know in the tournament preview that we did, and when we were looking at the Mumbai Indians, we discussed about how all their bases are covered. They basically got options for every position. Probably the only two people they don't have a backup for is Rohit Sharma and Jasprit Bumrah. But apart from that, everyone else in the team is replaceable, and they have equally good backup options. So what do we have in terms of a fun fact for today?
Okay, we started off with the same number of runs being scored by Mumbai in the last 5 overs. Okay, Surya Kumar Yadav run out at Abu Dhabi batting with Rohit Sharma. Sounds familiar?
Yeah.
Exactly what happened to him while playing against Kolkata Knight Riders. That is what brought about his wicket in the same fashion in today's game as well. So such interesting coincidences are nice to discuss, but probably not very enjoyable for Surya Kumar Yadav.
Especially when he's been in such brilliant batting form. He's looked in lovely touch. For his sake, you would hope that he gets to play long innings and entertain us. And moving on to the key moment of the day, I think the last 4 overs of the Mumbai Indians innings when they scored 84 runs, there's just no doubt about it. I think that was the key moment of the day that just simply took the game away from Punjab and got Mumbai to a total which was out of Punjab's reach. So who's your pick for the player of the day, Nags?
Who, not a single individual. It's only fair that we talk about the partnership between Pollard and Hardik Pandya. So we've alluded so often about the last 5 overs and what Mumbai did in that. And it is basically thanks to these two individuals who are in some scintillating hitting form. For me, the pick would be the partnership, and instead of picking an individual. So it will be Pollard and Pandya for us.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Right. So we've got another interesting game in the offing tomorrow. CSK, the Dad's Army, have had a nice quiet break for about 6 days, and they're back up tomorrow again, facing against the Sunrisers Hyderabad. So what's your pick, Nags?
So I'll say the momentum is currently with Sunrisers. So I'll go with Sunrisers.
Ooh, for once you've left me with a good choice. I'm going to go with CSK. I'm backing CSK to come good. You can see the pitches are starting to slow up a little bit. CSK is back in the business. So that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please like and share with your friends. Subscribe to our channel to keep more videos coming your way. And don't go anywhere because we're back again tomorrow night. See you again.